Yo YouTube! It is Wednesday, the 18th of October, and I'm on my way home. We had quite a long day. I'm quite tired today. I've been quite tired for about half the day, but I'm going home now. I've had a productive day, productive couple of days, and I'll tell you about what I've done. But I'm also going to tell you, if you're new to these videos, I'm going to tell you um, what I do the videos for, in case you haven't seen the other ones. So before I get into my day, I want to just sort of recap a couple of the important things that I think are important about my channel and why I do it. So the first thing is, I did this out of a desire to give people who are inexperienced or just starting a clearer idea as to what sort of money you would make on a good day and a bad day, basically every day. And obviously, some days are really good, and some days are really quite bad. And you have to kind of accept that when you go into a job like this, because you're self-employed. The reason I did that is because I didn't have that information, and it was really important for me to have that information. And most of the work that I do is from the CX system, CX app, because I found it's by far and away the best app to get work from if you're new to the industry. It's not the only one, but it's really good to get started. And the second thing I would say is, I wanted to share with people who were, again, inexperienced or new, the sorts of mistakes that I make and what lessons I learn, and share those lessons with you all. And it's not that necessarily you're going to not make the same mistakes if you're new, because I'm sure you will. I've found that I prefer to get some advice, but it tends to bed in my brain when I do something, when I'm doing an activity, and so I tend to learn from my mistakes better than being told from somebody what to do. Um, and then the other things that kind of come in since I started doing the YouTube channel is kind of the YouTube experience itself has been quite interesting, and I've kind of developed over time reasons why I do a YouTube channel for myself. And primarily, I would say that I have a style which is a rambling narrative. I will talk about what I've done that day. I do them at the end of each day that I've worked, because I will forget what I've done otherwise. I will then summarise that day with the money side of things, the mileage, the time, some calculated calculations. And then I'll finish the video with anything that I've learned that day, or my views on various things. So I suppose there's three aspects to that. I would talk about things that are fundamental. So what is co-loading, what is backloading, what is a pod, etc. That's one kind of comment. I'll talk about things that I've learned that day and that I want to share, because I think it's a good lesson to learn, or it's a good experience to share. That's the second thing. Or I might share something about myself as a person. And I think this is one of the things I wasn't sure about this channel, and I wanted to share a bit more about me as a person. But you'll notice, if you are new to the channel, that I'm not on the camera, because I do not want to be recognised, and I don't want to be known. So I did choose from the start to do this as anonymously as possible. I'm not into doing YouTube to be recognised. I'm not into doing YouTube to make any money. I'm not into YouTube to market myself and my business, or to grow a massive following. But I am I do like the fact that there's a community of people that watch these videos, and I feel a kinship to these people, to you guys who watch these videos, and I like the fact that sometimes I get some really insightful comments from experienced people. And so there's a lot of stuff that I get from doing the videos, and I mainly do the videos for my own benefits. And if there's anyone out there that catches sight or sound of these and gets anything from them, then that makes me happy. I have shared a lot about myself, and if you saw yesterday's video, I've now told my partner about me doing these. So my anonymity is gradually eroding away. But I do feel that I have a clear set of principles and values that I want to work by, and I want to use for as long as I do my YouTube channel. I want to be able to express those attitudes and values because it's my channel. So I hope if you're new to the channel, that's a reasonably good summary as to what to expect from these videos. I'm probably different to most people in that if I spot a YouTube channel that I like, I will go back and start from the start and watch every single video in turn just to catch up. But I realise that not everyone does that. So there are people that are coming on later on, this is about 4 or 5 months down the line now, who won't have seen my first few videos, or won't have seen the videos where I've explained about my business costs, or about the rationale about why I need to earn a certain amount of money. So I thought it was worth just reminding you of that if you hadn't seen those videos. And I'll finish off by saying I would recommend you watch my first 3 videos, watch nothing else, because that's a good introduction to who I am and why I'm doing this. And I just want to say that the target that I have is based upon me running a business and having enough money to live off. And I don't know if at the end of the year I will have made enough money. This is all part of the learning process. So I've got in place my estimates based on some real world earnings and some assumptions. But really I think in terms of my experience and my ability to run my business effectively, I reckon I probably need a couple of years experience to really feel that I've got all the bases covered. And I think that anyone out there who criticises a new starter within their, say, first year, 2 years, needs to perhaps think about everyone started somewhere and we all make mistakes. And if you're in that position, I want these videos to be, if anything, a kind of support for you if you're struggling, because it can be difficult to start your own business. It can be difficult when you're not sure quite what to do and you're learning. And lots of people, most people, are really great and positive. And if you reach out to them, they will help you. Most people will do that. But just be aware, I'm sure you are, that there are some people who just don't think like that and they'd rather tear you down. And I'm going to share with you one thing now which I've not shared with you so far, and it's because I want to be open and honest, and that voice said I would be. I don't think it's right for people to criticise other people unless they've got some sort of relationship with them. You know, some sort of understanding or understanding of that person and their situation. So that's one reason why I don't like some social media. The worst bit of social media is where you get strangers telling you what you should be doing. And I, for one, don't respond well to that. If you want to engage with me, for example, through YouTube, then there are people who engage with me regularly, and then they give me the odd criticism or advice. And for those people, I trust that they're doing it for the right reasons, and I listen to them. And there are other people, not very many to be fair, but it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about how I see the world. That will come on to a channel like this, and they'll criticise something you've said in that video, and they've either not listened to all the other videos, or not listened to the video properly, or they haven't engaged with you before that, and they seem to think they have a right to spout their opinion about your life without knowing who you are. And I think it's a really strange thing for people to think they can do. Now, one of the reasons I did the YouTube channel. One of the reasons I did it is I wanted to test out that idea. How many people out there do just troll you effectively? I use the word trolling just as a shorthand. I don't think it's necessarily trolling. I think sometimes it's just insensitive, and I think it's just not thinking about what you're saying, or not being very careful about how you say it. But let's say trolling for the sake of argument, because you know what that means. There are some people that troll on YouTube, and they're the same sort of people you see on other people's YouTube channels, and you kind of know that they don't really do it for the positive reason. They're not really trying to help the person. But I must say that I've not had as much of that as I thought I might have done. It's very, very little, I would say. But I suspect that people like Big Beardy and Pete the Courier, who've got thousands of subscribers, have been doing this for 3 or 4 years, they probably get a worse experience because they've been doing it for longer and have a lot more people who have engaged with them. So I'm assuming that given enough time, I might get more of that sort of behaviour. And I suppose I'm kind of preempting that now by saying to those people who want to do that, if you are doing it to try and wind me up, it isn't going to work. If you're doing it because you want to help me, well then do it in the right way. Because I'm an old guy, I'll listen to people who I trust. I'm not going to listen to some stranger telling me what I should do, unless I do it in a polite, respectful way. I think I have. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I grew up thinking manners meant something, and maybe some people who are a bit younger who do social media don't think that manners are important anymore. I think it is. So there's a bit of a rant, but I hope it didn't come across as being aggressive. It was just kind of sharing my honest and open points of view. And I would reiterate, I've had a pretty positive experience so far. I'm just kind of letting you know there that I'm expecting in the future maybe more and more negativity to come my way. But it might not do. And maybe by saying this, it might get people to think twice. We'll see. I hope that made sense to you guys. Again, as always, if you agree, happy for your comment, tell me why. If you don't agree, I'm happy for your comment, just tell me why. That's part of what I mean by negativity being in the right way. If you have an opinion if you think I'm wrong or think I'm incorrect, I'll come back to wrong in a minute. If you have something to say that's against what I've said, then just give me the reason why, explain the rationale, the context, and then maybe it'll make more sense. Maybe I might be persuaded. But just telling someone they're wrong without giving them a reason, it's going to get nowhere. And the other, I was going to say about wrong and right. The thing about my channel is I don't tend to do much stuff that's factual. So I tend to go with my opinion on stuff. So you can't really say that my opinion is wrong. You can say you disagree with it. But there are some occasions where I've said stuff that's factual. So like when I've defined what a backload is, for example, when I've defined what tramping is, I had a really good comment from somebody, I can't remember the name, sorry, when I did my tramping video, and they told me that traditionally tramping was when you went out from Monday to Friday. And I didn't know that, and it made sense that there was a history of the word. So that was a factual error that I was printed on, and it was done in a really positive way. And that's what, and I've got quite a few older, more experienced viewers that will do that, and they're the gold dust. They're the people that I really love hearing from, because they know from years of experience what they're talking about. I'm just mindful, though, that those people have to be aware that things have changed, do change, and I don't like it when people are experienced and cynical, You don't have to be cynical and old and cynical. You can be old and cheerful. So I try and be. Anyway, that's the end of that introduction, which is out of character for me because I usually go on to my day first. But heck, I've done that now. Right, today. How was today for me? So, I woke up having not slept that well, to be fair, in my own bed, but that's another story. And then I was looking for a job around about 8 o'clock, 8:30. I hadn't got anything booked in from yesterday, and I put a bid on a couple of jobs, and then a job came up that was from, where was it from? Oh, where was it from? Oh no, sorry, I forgot. Yes. I had a load on board from last night, so that was it. I had my items from last night that I collected from Runcorn, Blackpool, and Leeds, and then I was going to take those to High Wycombe this morning. So my first job was to get to High Wycombe and offload them. But I was looking at jobs to co-load. I put a couple of bids on the way down, but I didn't get anything on the way down. Put about 3 or 4 bids on that were kind of on the way down that I could have done. And as always, I put a note on saying that I would do their job direct, but I had something else on board. Right, so I left the house probably about 9:10. I got to High Wycombe in about 11:45ish, and got offloaded quite quickly. And as I was arriving at High Wycombe, so about 10 minutes before I got there was a job going from High Wycombe to Eastbourne. And I wasn't that keen to go that far south, but on the way down, it hadn't been that busy today on the feed. There wasn't that many suitable jobs. And in my home area, it was really quite quiet this morning. So I decided to bid on it. It was 103 miles for a medium wheelbase van. There you go, Pete, got it right. Peter, sorry. And then there was, what else was it? Oh yes, it was because it was going to Eastbourne, and that was a bit out of the way. I thought I'd put a bit more money on it. I put £125 on, then perhaps I would have gone with. I would have maybe gone for £1 a mile usually, but 125 sounds like a fair amount. And I hadn't dropped off yet, so I had time to find another job if I hadn't done that one. Anyway, a guy rang me. He seemed really nice. I think I get the impression he was an owner driver. So he texted me the details. I said to him I was offloading my stuff first and I'd do his job. He was fine with that. I said about 15 minutes and I get off to his job, and that's well within the time scales that he needed. So I got offloaded, and then I was 10 minutes from the pickup where I was, about 5 miles. So I went straight across there, and then I got to the right place, and I wasn't sure what I was collecting. One of the things I'll just slightly diverge. One of the things I need to be better at, and I've said I sometimes do this, but I've got out of the habit of doing it. And I want to use this as one of my lessons for new drivers. And I want to get into the habit of doing this. I really must start asking the shipper, what are we collecting? Now, I won't always get an answer. They won't always know. But I'd like to get in the habit of being a driver that asks that question. I think it's a good thing to do. I didn't ask in this case, and when I got there, it was, I would call it sound equipment, so in those really hard travel boxes, black and silver boxes, quite big, like the things that bands would have to carry their equipment around. And I was taking it to a theatre in Eastbourne, and there were 4 youngish lads there, all quite fit, as in physically fit. They're not my type. And it took them half an hour to get the stuff loaded onto my van, all 4 of them. Luckily, I wasn't required to help. And I was trying to put the straps on at first, but then it got so full, I just couldn't get straps on anywhere. They filled up the van. They could have filled it up more at the back, right at the back, but they had too much equipment that was too heavy. I strapped the very back things with a couple of straps, but I had basically a full van. So I've got a long wheelbase van, and this job was for a medium wheelbase van, and it filled my van, and then there was another van required after me. So the reason why I mentioned should have asked is I'm not sure if the guy that gave me the job knew how much stuff there was. Because I think there was way more. There's obviously way more than a long wheelbase van can take. So it should have really been on. I don't know. It should have been a long wheelbase van price for me, and then whatever the next van is. Anyway, I didn't feel like making a fuss about it, mainly because I didn't have to do any of the lifting and carrying onto the van. So I updated the shipper, the driver shipper, what had happened, and when I was going to be at the delivery place, and that there was another van required. And then I made my way towards Eastbourne. And the shipper sent me a text of the number of the contact when I got there, and I did ring that half an hour before I arrived. And I did get the shipper to double check, is there someone who's going to help me unload? Because I was never going to do this by myself. Literally, there are boxes there that I could not lift it by myself. Never mind, it's not about not wanting to do it, it's about I couldn't do it. Although some are on wheels, they had to pack them on their sides, and I couldn't lift some of these boxes off the back of their wheels. So anyway, I was reassured that there was other people to help me. So I made my way towards Eastbourne, and what time did I get there? It would have been about 3 o'clock-ish. No, how about? Yeah, maybe 3 o'clock. Yeah, just after 3 by the time I got over. Yes, I think it was 10 past 3 when I arrived, and about 25 past 3 when I left. And when I got there, I rang the guy. He was really friendly, guided me in. He came out and took off the load with help from another guy. I helped him take off bits I could help with. And then I took a photo of it all there, got to Simapod, and then made my way away. I rang the shipper just to ask him when the next round would be, to let the guy know, because he asked. And he said he'd be there within an hour, so they're all happy about that. So again, about that reminds me about something I said before about communication. It's not really my job as a driver to check when the next driver's going to be there, but it's all just a little thing you can do as a driver just to kind of help the process along. So communication is really important. And the driver shipper who gave me the job said at the end he was really pleased that there was someone there who knew what he was doing, i.e. me. So whatever I did or the way I said it, it gave him confidence that the job was being done properly. And that kind of job, if you had someone who didn't speak very good English that wasn't communicating, the driver shipper would really not have a clue what's going on. It's an advantage to communicate, is what I'm saying. It's the little things that build up to a big impact. So what next? So I thought it was about 3:30ish. I thought I've got a reasonable chance of getting a job now, and I worked out my finances. And I thought if I can get £105 job, that'll just be and get me sort of halfway home. Then I'll drive the rest of the way home tonight. That'd be a really nice couple of days. And I looked for a job, and there was nothing around where I was in Eastbourne. So I was right by the coast, and it would take about 20 minutes to get from where I was to the outskirts of Eastbourne. So I thought I'd just start to drive away, looking for work. I put a future journey on, going home effectively, and bid on a few jobs. I think I've bid on 2 jobs, but I didn't get anything. And then I had a brainwave, which I'll tell you about in a moment. I just remember something. On the way down, when I was taking my stuff to High Wycombe, there were some jobs sort of towards Milton Keynes, London way, and quite a lot of jobs came up. But I said before that not many jobs came up, and I've now realised why that was, because everything that had the word London in it, I just deleted it straight away. And I felt really good about that. Now, if you've listened to my channel for a while, you'll know I've had a lot to do with London over the months, and I have decided to give up on London. So the fact that I could just ignore all those jobs that had the word London in it made my search a lot easier. Although some places like Watford would be equivalent to London, or Twickenham, but I would not do those either, to be fair. But I just got rid of everything that was in London, and that meant that I could easily scan through everything else that was left. It made looking at what was left easier. Right, go back to tonight then, to my brainwave. Right, so I was a bit disappointed when I left Eastbourne. And it got to I was driving up for about an hour and getting closer and closer towards London, and nothing was coming up. And I thought, this is not going well for me today. So I put in my figures for today. If I just driven straight home from Eastbourne, 174 miles, dead miles. That sounded really bad. It was about 4 hours journey. So I put it into my spreadsheet and I worked out, if I did that, what would my average amount of earnings be? And I'll tell you what it is in a moment when I do my stats. When I worked out what the figure was, I thought, oh, that's all right then. I don't need to find another job. So it took a lot of pressure off me finding a job. And at that point, I then had my brainwave, which is this. I've got another regular job to do for my shipper, a non-CX job to do this week. I've got to collect some items from Sheffield and from Chelmsford. And I booked that for Friday. And I'm happy to do that on Friday. It's going to be quite an easy day. But I've got to get from Sheffield to Chelmsford and across top of London to High Wycombe, and then back home on a Friday. I don't think it's going to be very easy because of the London traffic. So what I thought I would do is pop into Chelmsford on the way past. It wasn't really the way past, but it was a reasonably good route. Pick up my Chelmsford stuff today, take it to my house, offload it, do my usual work tomorrow. I want to end up tomorrow evening near Birmingham, well, Droitwich to be fair, because it's my dad's birthday. And then I need to get myself to Sheffield on Friday morning, pick up my Sheffield stuff, and then on the way from Sheffield down to High Wycombe, I pass my house. I can pick up the Chelmsford load. So that, when I thought about that, I thought that seems like quite a good idea. It makes today longer and less efficient, but it'll make Friday a hell of a lot easier. And I like that. So that's what I've done. I went from Eastbourne. I drove directly to Chelmsford. It took about 2.5 hours. I picked up the load, and now I'm on my way home from Chelmsford. So let me give you the stats for the last 2 days. Now the reason why I didn't do yesterday is because I didn't deliver the stuff to High Wycombe until this morning, and a lot of the money that I would have had for today work was done yesterday. So the work was done yesterday, but being paid today, effectively. So I thought I'd rather give such distorted figures, I'm going to average them out over the 2 days. So I'll give you all the figures for Tuesday and Wednesday, averaged out. So, yesterday I did 12.5 hours, and today I will have done pretty much 13 hours by the time I get home. Maybe more like 12 and 3/4, but let's round it to 13. So that would be an average of 12 and 3/4 if I was going to average those, but that's not relevant. The number of miles that I did yesterday was 447, and today 446. Would you believe? What a coincidence! And would you believe that averages it out at 446.5? Wow. My fuel costs this week are slightly lower, but I think I'm going to take this with a pinch of salt, because I didn't record my mileage when I filled up after my holiday, so I've done a guesstimate for my mileage for the last tank of fuel. So I may have miscalculated it, but I'm going to be pretty close. So it's 15.21 pence per mile for the cost of my fuel for every mile that I drive this week. And that's because it's gone down because, so yesterday, my fuel card has given me a really good deal for this week. My earnings in total comes to £692. Why is it 2? So I put the wrong number, sorry. It should be a 5. I put in 122, not 125 for my work today. So my earnings for the total 2 days, £695, 695. That was made up of 170 yesterday, and 400 today, and 125 today. So that's 525. So you see why I've had to average these, because there's such a discrepancy. I've done 2 days of 12 and 3/4 hours. I've got 2 different amounts of money, and the mileage is exactly the same. So I'm going to average it out. That's an average income of £348, 348 for the last 2 days. My fuel costs, I'm just going to give you an average because they're so similar. They average out per day at £67 and 90 pence. And basically, there's 8 pence difference between the two. So so the average is pretty much what I spent both days. And then the all-important figure, if I take off my fuel costs that I've actually spent from my gross earnings, what are my net earnings? So yesterday it would have been £102, and today it would have been £457. But that's not really very useful. So if I combine them together and average them out for the 2 days, it's £280 on average per day. So, if you haven't seen my previous videos, for me to make a living and pay for my business costs, I want to make £250 after fuel each day I work. So I've made my target. So that's why I didn't worry about dead miling it back home from Eastbourne, because even with the 4 hours and 174 miles, I still have made target. And as a bonus, I've now collected half of my load for Friday, which is going to make Friday so much easier. So I hope that all makes sense. I'm kind of assuming that you're new to my videos, so I've done a bit more of a basic description. The reason why I give you those figures is because I think it's helpful if you don't do this job or are very new to it to know what I'm achieving in the real world with 6 months experience. I'm not saying that what I've achieved is good or it's bad. It's neither of those things. It's just what I want to achieve for myself. If you're doing this, you might have a different target for yourself. You probably will, because you have a different situation. The other thing, if you're new, is I have certain advantages that you might not have. I don't have really young children that need me to be at home. I don't have a van financing that I have to pay for my van. My van's paid outright. It's quite old, but I don't have to pay anything towards it. And also, I can, if I want to, stay out overnight and maximise my earnings every so often. I can't do it every night. It's just not that pleasant. Not fair on my partner. But 2 or 3 nights I could do that, and I can maximise my money by doing that. If you can't do those things, or if you've got young children, or you've got lots of bills, or lots of business bills that I haven't got, then you might struggle. You might need to earn more money. You might struggle. Also, I was going to mention this as well because I think it's quite a good indicator. As I've done this longer and longer and longer, I realise that some little things can make big differences. And I want to mention one little thing that makes a big difference to me. And it's where I live. Now, because I want to remain anonymous, I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live. But if you've watched my videos, you'll have a pretty good idea. But this morning, I looked at the on the CX system. You can look at who's around you, who's registered on the CX system and has their tracking on. And there's colours for people who are available. Green, red means they're not available to do work, and yellow means they may be available with constraints. And this morning I had a look at that map. I want to describe to you verbally what it looks like, because then you then might understand what I mean by the little things that make a difference. Imagine a circular map with a cross north to south, east to west. And imagine me, I'm in the middle of that cross. That's where my van was this morning. I looked at where everyone else was, both available and not available. I'll give you some rough numbers because I think they tell a good story. If I took everyone that was below the horizontal line, so effectively south of me, but everywhere across the whole map south of me, there was in the region of 57 people that were being tracked, and of those, 26 of them were green. So that's a lot of people. Looking north of me, the top half of that semicircle, north of me, the total number of drivers that were available across the whole of the map, east to west, was about 12. And of those that were green, it was 1. No, it might have been 2, sorry, it was 2. There's somebody way out in Grantham area that was green. So I've got to compete in theory against 26 people getting jobs that are south of me, or 2 or 3 people getting jobs north of me. So when I look at the map, for me, I'm in a great position to win jobs that are north of where I'm located, because there's not many drivers there. And to give you a context, if I look at the same thing east to west. So when I looked at the drivers that are available, every driver that was available to the east of me, both above and below me, all the drivers to the east of me, it was 12. And when I looked to the west of me, it was 14. And I want you to sort of try and understand that I can't go east to get an advantage or go west to get an advantage. There's no difference there. And if I looked at all the drivers available, so all the, let's say it would be about 70 odd drivers, including me, it was about half of them were east of me and half of them were west of me. So I can't really say I'll focus on the east of where I live or the west of where I live, or even really the south of where I live. But I can focus on the north of where I live, because there's a lot of jobs that I can bid on and I might win. It's not a lot of jobs compared to, say, Corby or Nottingham or Leicester or I don't know, Birmingham or London. There's not many jobs at all, but I'm one of the few drivers in the north of where I live where it's competing for them. Now obviously that's a bit simplistic, because there may be drivers that are south of me that will go north for me cheaper. So it's not like I've got monopoly of the north. But in terms of my strategy, I tend to ignore the south of where I live now in the morning. I don't get much from there. I get a lot more joy from the north of me. It's just a little thing that makes quite a big difference to my ability to make money. So I think that's just one example of the little things that when you get to learn this job make a big difference. I'll give you one other example, which in my view, we're on 39 minutes, so I'm going to bring this to a close soon. Another little thing, which I kind of bang on a bit, I think, but I do think it's important, is just smile at people, just be nice to people. It's a little thing, but it makes a big difference to your business. I've said enough about that already, so I won't go on about it. But I just think, I'll finish off on this. What I'm beginning to learn is, in the first few months, maybe first year of doing this job, you need to learn how to do it well, how to do it at all, and how to do it well. How to physically do the job, and it's not that hard to do. And you'll probably get that within the first month of the basics, and then you just learn the little bits for the next few months. Depends on how quickly you learn. For me, I would say a month of really kind of getting comfortable, 6 months being really knowing I'm pretty sure I know I'm doing the right thing in terms of how I do the job. But I think for the next 6 months, what I'm doing, and I have started to be doing, is getting that experience about the little things that make a big difference. I'm trying to think of an example, like try and bid at 8:30 to 9:30, not 9:30 to 10:30, because it makes a big difference about what you can bid for in the morning. You know, if I'm I don't know, if I'm in, let's say, I don't know, Torquay, maybe it's better to go to Exeter. Don't take that literally because I don't know if that's true or not, but you might think, well, it's a better place just down the road. I know that because I've been there before. I think Hull is quite a good area for me. You know, go north from where I am up to Hull. There's not really many drivers there, but it might not be good for everyone else. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, as you as a new driver go on up to a year, maybe up to 2 years of experience, you get the feel of how to do the job, which is more intangible. You get an instinct for what's the right thing to do, and you trust your instincts better. You don't do every single job because you know that job's rubbish, or that's going to get you into trouble, or it's going to get in the wrong area. So I think that I'm kind of at the point now where I'm beginning to get a sense for what's the right and wrong things to do in terms of making more money. And I think that's important to tell people who are new. You won't get that for a while. It comes. So just keep on persevering, keep on doing the right sort of things, and it will come. You know, everything needs to be worked at. Everything needs experience. Now, I think that's enough of me going on. So I'm going to finish off and tell you what I'm grateful about, because that's my new thing. On Sunday, after my holiday last week, I felt quite poorly. So it would have been achy muscles, sort of bloating, didn't have much of an appetite, right? Indigestion, like gastric, acid in my stomach coming up, and it was all very unpleasant. And in that moment, I hate feeling ill. And in that moment, I just thought, this is horrible. I don't want to do this. And you know, is this what it's going to feel like when I start dying? And then on Monday, I felt better. So I'm grateful that today I feel well enough to do this job. And I value every day that I can do this job. And I feel grateful for my body lasting another day and letting me do the thing that I really like doing. Right. Thank you for listening. I hope you are successful in however you define that word. What are you grateful for today?